And at this time, I'd like to introduce our new superintendent of schools. Very proud of, we used to be a neighbor with her, and my wife worked with her. Really a great lady and a person I think that's going to do the best for our North Adams Community Schools. I'd like to introduce Kim Hiatt.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here and allowing me to come to share with you today. I did want to take a few minutes, just because I am new to some of you, to give you a little bit of my background. I come from fairly blue-collar roots. I come from a small town in southeastern Indiana where my father and brothers still farm together. My mom stayed on the farm and helped my dad till I graduated college and my youngest brother graduated high school. Then she started her teaching tenure the same year I did, and she taught for 20 years before retiring as a fax teacher, home ec. By some of you would probably know it by that. My brothers also studied to be diesel mechanics, precision machinists, welders, tool and die, and my husband is a union mason. So I'm a big supporter of the trades and a lot of those types of industries, and certainly understand that we have a lot of that in our own economy here. My husband and I have 4 sons. We have a 20-year-old and soon-to-be twin 18-year-olds this Sunday. And for about 2 years, we've been fostering a young man who became 3 here in December, and we are in the process of adopting him. So that is, our life's pretty busy, as you can imagine. And so I would want to tell you that that's something that probably defines me. My life calling, I always say, is to protect and work for kids. And so that kind of drives a lot of what I do professionally, for sure, and personally as well. I've been part of North Adams since 2012, when I was hired by Dr. Sirk to be Belmont High School principal. And I loved my opportunities there to serve this community and the students. And I hope that I am not telling anyone here a surprise when I say you have a treasure here in your local schools. And I hope you all know that. We offer such a diversity of programming for all of our students, whether they're special needs, gifted, and most importantly, everyone else in between. So whether a child's going to college, going to work with the trades, going to go to the military, go straight into the workforce, a tech school, or an apprenticeship, they have the programming and the personnel to support those next steps. Something that isn't necessarily a given too is that our students are known by their first names by our staff and their administrators. And in smaller schools, that's certainly nothing that is uncommon, but often there isn't enough staff to go around to offer the diversity in programming to meet what their next step needs may be. Similarly, in a larger school system, their names may not be known. So I really appreciate and have been impressed continually with the programming and the personal touch that our schools provide. And I was really blessed to work with that great staff at the high school, and hope that I blessed and honored them in helping Belmont grow. As to the state of the schools for this year, I can only say, wow. I'm sure that I'm not saying anything differently than a lot of you in your own industries have experienced. We are approaching the 1-year anniversary of what we call the big shutdown, when the pandemic hit and all the schools went virtual, and we have learned so many things since then. We had to learn how to create and deliver quality virtual learning. We had to learn how to communicate with people not on site. Words like Zoom and Teams and Google Meet that we had never used before had to become daily lessons, as I'm sure in each of your industries had to as well. We wrestled with accountability versus understanding that kids don't learn the same at home. We struggled with knowing how to help students who had emotional struggles and who maybe didn't have anyone to advocate for them at their home, and how could we still protect them and advocate for them. And then our kids just lost so many things. They lost their prom, spring sports, senior year experiences, and the list goes on. Fast forward to fall of 2020, then we had to think about, well, what is school reopening going to look like? How long will we even be able to stay open, because we were anticipating maybe we would be closed down at some point? How long would this last? When would the vaccines come? And looking back and reflecting on the process, and even coming out of what is perhaps, I hope, to be one of the worst experiences in regards to having to plan long-term for a school, I would say our 3 R's of reading, writing, and arithmetic have really kind of shifted in the last year. And I would say we've been more in a state of redefining, recovering, and rejoicing now. So let's start with redefining. Redefining what is normal. COVID took a big a bunch of our time, obviously for all of you too, and we had to be very exacting in our precautions and expectations. Clean hands in, clean hands out became a big mantra that all the kids heard. Masks on, masks up. Social distance, keep your distance from each other. Extra cleaning by our custodians daily. And you know what? It worked. We had very, very few instances of any exposures at school. And most of our shutdowns that we had to have happen in the short term were because we didn't have enough substitutes to cover the staff members who may have been home. Quarantining was another big thing that we had to learn about. We had to find the definitions of close contact tracing because we were the support to the health department in figuring out who needed to stay home and 7 degrees of separation of when were you exposed and by whom and how long would you have to stay home, when could you come back. That was all very difficult. But I can tell you we learned made some great relationships with folks, and we don't have anything but respect for our Adams County Health Department. Dr. Ainsworth and Holly there, I know that they fielded multiple calls from us every day about what should we do, what do you want us to do, what can we do. Our building office staff, secretaries, school nurses, administration had to spend countless hours every day contact tracing, talking to students, talking to parents. But our students were awesome. They were real troopers. And let me tell you, when we all were worried about how will they do with this masking thing and social distancing, oh, this just will never work. When you can see 3- and 4-year-olds in preschool walking up and down the halls with their masks on, social distance in line, you know what? We don't give them enough credit for what they can do. And sometimes we adults are the ones that maybe struggle with it more than our kids do. Our food service, whether you realized it or not, at North Adams fed the entire county during the shutdown. Due to some of the COVID grant, we were able to provide food services, and our food service staff provided those services for all students who were eligible across the entire county. And according to Erin Ripley, they probably provided a 26-person staff 133,000 meals over that few months that we were shut down. So that was just stupendous, and delivered them by bus to different drop sites. Our IT department had to provide a lot of extra supports, had to rally really quickly to find hotspots and things to give to our families who might not have access to high-speed, consistent internet. And our teachers had to do double duty for a long time. At North Adams, we had opted not to go with an online standard curriculum, and they provided what we call synchronous classes, which they were teaching to one group of kids that were on site while a group of other students were home. We called those our choice e-learners. It was extremely taxing, and they are very tired. But just like the troopers they are, they got up every day and they did it, and they did a great job. The next thing that we're in now is recovery. So how do we get back to what normal was, or what it will be as we come out of this? And one thing that this has reinforced to all of us is that kids need school. Kids need the bricks and mortar. Kids need in-person teachers. They need the relationships that happen every day with their peers and with the adults that they interact with. It is hard as human beings to be isolated, and we were not designed to not be relational people. And so we have done a lot to try to help them reintegrate into school. I can tell you the incidence of depression, anxiety, and suicide are really high right now from kids that were at home and maybe didn't receive the supports they needed, or who struggled, again, just being isolated. We currently at North Adams are blessed to have relationships with Bowen Center, Park Center, and Adams Behavioral Health. We have 26 either counselors or case managers come in and out of our schools weekly, and they are servicing close to 10% of our population right now through either skills training or counseling services, and the need is still greater. As has happened across the nation, we know that some of the kids have struggled learning during this time at home. And that's, again, no new news, but it's something that we have to address because we want those kids to catch up. So we have been planning for some time now about offering a very robust July summer school. We're giving everyone the month of June off just to take a breath, relax, recoup, get out, get some sunshine, and then getting together in June and trying to do some remediation. We also are going to provide in the fall lots of extended after-school supports for those students who need it. This spring, still, the high school is offering extended credit recovery programming so that the students who may have gotten behind on their credits may keep on track toward graduation. Our community needs schools too. It's been very taxing on our families and our businesses when they've had kids at home and didn't have childcare or had to have one parent stay at home to try to provide childcare. So we know that the schools need to be open to keep our economy rolling locally as well, and we are committed to doing that. And our staff needs school to be in person, and they want their kids in person because, again, teaching is a relational activity. And so hoping that all our kids can come back and stay back. Last week I had a report from our school nurse that this is the first time since the shutdown in March and starting in the fall that we had zero people home on quarantine. So that was a great thing to finally reach that point. And finally, we're at the rejoicing point because we do feel there is a light at the end of the tunnel and we are starting to emerge from this situation we've been in for so many months. And we want the kids to start being able to enjoy and rejoice in just being kids again, and again, reintegrate into what life has kind of been. So fun that we're wanting to have. We have a March 17th activity planned for our students who were choicey learners, if they're able to, because of needing to be home due to a family member or themselves being high risk. If they've had the vaccine or feel comfortable coming, we're going to have a fun activity for them at school just to see what fall might be like when they feel comfortable coming back to school. We are planning an outdoor prom with Dr. Ainsworth's blessing in the plaza out here, and we're really excited to do that. Commencement, we've gotten the go-ahead that we will have commencement in the gym this year. It might be limited capacity still, but we are having it in person and on time. And this weekend, I hope you had the opportunity to go see our Little Mermaid production from our drama department. It was really a cute thing that they put together. Academics for 21-22, we're already up and planning for that. We are in the process of doing preschool roundup, so if any of you know any preschool kids, we are offering transportation this year because this is another thing that I can tell you we have recognized, again, needing that seeing the relational issue that we need to address coming out of pandemic is we have to partner much better with our community and with our parents to try to provide services for those who may need them. And so transportation for preschool was one of the messages we had very much that needed to happen in order to give our working families the opportunities they needed to get their kids in a quality preschool and be able to get them back and forth to daycare or child care. We are in the process of scheduling right now. I don't know whether you know this or not, but North Adams offers 13 of the 17 CTE programs available in our county. We have welding, construction trades, health science education, work-based learning, human and social services, entrepreneurship, radio and TV, ag, criminal justice, early education professions, early childhood education, marketing, and accounting. We do send out to South Adams for precision machining, which is a great program, autos, culinary arts, computer science, and fire and rescue. We have our BEC program that we're hoping to get up and moving and getting our kids back to having college visits and things like that when that's accessible. But again, one of the great flagship programs we have saves our community over $350,000 annually in tuition costs for the students that go through that. And we have just started. COVID kind of put the damper on it, but we're going to get this up and going. We started something a couple years ago called Belmont Career Academy, where we put students in groups now by career interest. So we have early college for those four-year college-bound students. We felt we also needed to provide a parallel program for those students who were interested in the military, the trades, workforce immediately, or a technical school. And so we are providing parallel programming for those students going that route. We also have a freshman academy program to help students with the transition from junior high into high school, and a brand new reading and math program and assessment program we're integrating into the elementary and middle school this year. Athletics, I'm sure you heard that we had a second place team wrestling. And Ike Rubel made it to state and was second place in the entire state in his weight class division. We had two students go to state in cross country this fall. Our girls bowling team, made it to state this year. So we've had quite a bit of success in our athletics team as well. And I know they're very excited to get back to life as normal in their respective sports. Finally, just moving forward, again, we've recognized and learned a lot from this shutdown, and one of those things is we all are relational human beings, and we need to do what we can to come along beside each other and help each other out. So we are having a lot of conversations about what can the school do to support better our community and our families in that community. And so there's going to be a lot of discussions about different things we might be able to put in place just to help, again, our working families provide continuity of education and good supportive child care to their students. I thank you for this opportunity to speak with you today and look forward to talking to many of you individually, and thank you for listening.